We hear all the time all of the bad questions the candidates don't want to answer.
95% of the people tell me negative experiences because that's what sticks out to them. No hiring manager thinks that they are that person that gave them the negative interview. Of course, it was never them, right? That is stupid that somebody asked me, "Do you actually need your salary? Because what does your husband do?"
If you're being asked that in an interview, what kinds of questions and conversations do you think you're going to be having when you work for them?
Don't tell me about yourself. First of all, should we start off with what you came up with for our podcast name? Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah. So we, in coaching hiring managers and training them, and we hear all the time all the bad questions the candidates don't want to answer. And so we thought, well, if we're going to be talking about bad interviews and some of the content that goes viral on our social, and playing on some of those words, we should use an interview question and turn it around.
Yes. And why not use the first
Yes.
bad interview question that
Is it one of the worst?
I would say it's not one of the worst, but it's one of the first.
Yeah. Which kind of first can be the worst?
It is a first impression, right? They think only employers have first impressions about candidates.
It sets
but
the whole tone.
It does set the
and
tone.
It's also like how you ask it. So yeah, without further ado.
Drum roll, please.
It's don't tell us about yourself.
Yeah. Don't tell us about yourself.
Or don't tell me about yourself. Wait, hold on.
Well, I guess we'll figure it out by the time we print it on something. I hope.
Oh, yeah. We need to figure out
tell me about
yourself or not. Yeah.
Don't tell me about yourself.
Don't tell me about yourself.
Yeah.
So have emphasis on the don't.
Right. Yeah.
One of the worst questions because also how you ask it too. Like, so, arms crossed, scowled face, tell me about yourself, right? Can be kind of scary. And when someone goes, tell me about yourself. So tell me about yourself, kind of friendly. It's a scary question.
Right. But it's not just a scary question if it's asked intimidating, but it's also typically such a waste of time because what if you have a candidate that's like, you know what? I was conceived in the summer of 1984. You're like, oh no, there goes your entire interview talking about things that you can't make a decision off of anyway. Mm-hmm. So even in our videos, we make fun of a lot of bad interview questions. And that's one of the first. Tell me about yourself because it can just derail the entire thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in the top of the worst.
It is.
Because it's also the most common.
Yeah.
So I feel like it automatically gets ranked.
Right.
Biased.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah. I do want to touch on quickly what you think a format is going to look like for us. Because, that's where I like to live. You're like, let's get the image, let's get the name, let's get the thing. And I'm like, let's talk about
branding, name.
Yeah.
Yes. So the content, I think we should do some segments. I think it'd be really fun to talk about topical news. So whether that be a viral post or some article, like, for example, one of our viral posts recently about job hugging. That could be a topic where we talk about that, maybe scroll through some comments, some hot takes.
Yep.
And just deep dive on some of the content because a lot of times people don't get to hear the in-depth thoughts behind those.
Exactly. Yeah. They see the headline, but I have to give our followers so much credit. And so we're on obviously TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Our followers are absolutely hilarious. And the comments that they put in there, we get a chuckle out of them.
Yeah.
But to be able to share some of that content with other people and amplify their voices, because I'm like, they're hilarious. Let's give them a spotlight too. So it's nice to hear perspectives of our followers so that they can chime in on the content as well.
Yeah. What do you think? What's another thing that you think?
Let's see here. The viral videos. Well, we do know that hiring managers are going to, the $1 billion people, the people that billionaires are going to be writing articles about their top interviewing techniques. And so I
can't see me, but I'm rolling my eyes.
Yeah, you're right. I do think it's going to be, we're going to be able to insert a lot of education. So Victoria and I train hiring managers on how to interview the right way. We did a 7-year case study to determine which interviewing techniques actually work, which ones don't, which ones are inclusive and hire with equity and confidence. And I think we're going to be able to dissect some of the common things that happen and teach people how to influence their hiring managers or how to become a better hiring manager themselves. So I think it's going to be like our content usually is funny. We're going to poke fun at the worst that interviewer that you can imagine. But then I think we're also going to be able to help educate too so that people can learn something,
Yeah. And, for the people that are listening that maybe aren't hiring managers yet, like you said, they might also just find the content interesting because they might learn something as well. Like, they might not know that the question that they just heard in an interview wasn't a legal question, and maybe that they should find ways to divert away from that.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
and as much as our content is focused toward hiring managers, though, we naturally accidentally collect candidates who feel so validated when they hear our information. They're like, wait a second. That is stupid that somebody asked me if I was married, or that is stupid if somebody asked me, do you actually need your salary? Because what does your husband do? Or whatever it is. I think that it's important, for candidates to listen to, so that they know when they're working with a hiring manager who actually knows what they're doing versus one that doesn't.
Right, because big red flag when
right.
Yeah. When you're getting asked some of those bad questions, it's like, well, if you're being asked that in an interview, what kinds of questions and conversations do you think you're going to be having when you work for them?
Yes, it's like a peephole into their company, like what's coming. Yeah, so
I think that'll
be a lot of fun for both sides, candidates and hiring managers.
I mean, I think that's a great start. Looking at our content and doing some education, that's our jam. That's kind of what we do. Do you think we'll ever have any other friends on the pod?
Yes. I mean, we have so many friends in this business that are so good at what they do, and can share a lot of valuable information, whether it's from an HR standpoint, tech stack standpoint. I mean, we're at HR Tech. If you don't say tech stack, did you even podcast?
Doesn't count.
Right. Yeah. So I think that there's going to be a lot of people that we can bring on that add some value. And then, I think we're going to find a way to weave all of that in together. I do also like the idea that you brought up. We talked about how much our followers are hilarious, and they have like the best comments on our post. But also, that's such a tiny little space for them to write something. So opening up like a quick DM.
Yeah. I know.
Tell us.
We don't get to get into our DMs as much as I would like.
That's true.
There's some good stuff in there.
There's some
juicy.
And by good, we mean like awful.
Like bad,
that needs
good.
to be shared.
Right. Like bad, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So bringing that out, I think, would be really important too, to share that information.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
There are some good stories. And while we don't give candidate advice like strictly, and we do divert that all the time, we still do appreciate the horror stories and the content. And it's really fun because we've had it where people have sent in stories, and then we'll let them know, hey, this wasn't a skit. And they're like, oh my God. And then they see it live reenacted.
Right. And those candidate horror stories, they, in the weirdest long roundabout way, they help to educate hiring managers on not what to do, like on what not to do, I should say. And that is equally as important, because you're like, nobody actually does that. And you're like, actually, they do. Have you listened to your hiring managers? Have you ever sat in on an interview with them?
Don't you find that so funny when people say to us, and we get it all the time, does that really happen?
Right.
We see that in our comments, and you just laugh, right? Because that's what I do.
Does that really happen?
We just laugh, and we're like, have you been living under a rock?
Right.
Or honestly, like, you're lucky. You're one of the lucky ones. If you literally are so mind blown by it, then you good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you haven't been exposed to it like the rest of us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because in my first interview for like a big girl job, my interviewer was definitely very intense and put his feet up. Well, we just were talking about, tell me about yourself, right? So that was, his first question was not exactly worded that way, but he put his hands behind his head. He leaned back on his chair. We were in a conference room, so I'll set the setting, tons of windows, tons of empty chairs, him and I. And he leaned back, his chair leaned back. He put his feet on the table, crossed his legs, and said, so why should I hire you? Same kind of vibe, right? Tell me about yourself-ish related.
Right. Yeah.
So that was a super fun experience.
Yeah.
If we haven't had one of those, like
you're so
because that's a real fun way to just get tossed into the corporate pool.
It is, and you're definitely part of the minority if you haven't had that experience. Anytime I started training, I asked people to tell me about a memorable interviewing experience. 95% of the people tell me negative experiences because that's what sticks out to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And no hiring manager thinks that they are that person that gave them the negative interview.
They don't know.
Of course, it was never them, right? So by sharing those experiences, I think that that's going to help hiring managers to be like, oh no, that was me.
And wouldn't you want someone to be sharing a positive experience? Like how nice to be able to have that be your brand in the marketplace and to have people say how wonderful of an experience they had. It's so cool when we do have it. It's rare, but when we do hear from someone that says that they had a positive experience, it's the best.
Yes. We got to amplify that.
Yeah.
Totally.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well,
this has been so fun.
It has been so fun. Thank you so much. And we're going to get our name like really set by the next time.
Yes.
Don't tell
me about yourself.
There we go.
Yeah.
Don't tell me about yourself. For the record, put it on shirts, get it on a mug. Just for God's sakes, don't ask that question. Okay.
We'll see you guys soon.